On behalf of the crew, I would like to extend our sincere thanks for joining us here today. In the event of a thunderstorm, we ask that you calmly make your way to the parking area behind you, where buses will deliver you back to your vehicles. Please wait in the safety of your vehicle until the storm is past, and we can resume the ceremony. Additionally, during honors to Senator Moran, we'll be firing a 19-gun salute using 40mm cannons, which can be very loud. Please take precautions. Before we begin, I would ask you to please silence your cell phones for the duration of the ceremony. Thank you. We're here today to celebrate the commissioning of the third ship to bear the name of the largest city in Kansas. The first Wichita was the last heavy cruiser designed to meet the limits of the London Navy Treaty. The treaty limited the tonnage of naval ships and was intended as a means to reduce the arms race after World War I. She was commissioned at Philadelphia Naval Shipyard on 16 February 1939 and saw heavy service in Atlantic and Pacific during World War II. She was awarded 13 battle stars for her service. She was decommissioned in 1947. The second ship to bear the name Wichita was the lead ship in the Wichita class of heavy oilers. Commissioned in 1969, she was assigned to the U.S. 7th Fleet and supported Navy ships at Yankee Station during the conflict in Vietnam, where she set a Navy record for replenishing 23 ships in a 24-hour period. She earned 4 battle stars for her service in Vietnam. After the war, she continued service until she was decommissioned in 1993. We are honored to have crew members from both former USS Wichita ships with us today. Please join me in giving them all veterans a round of applause. The ship before you is the 7th Freedom Variant Littoral Combat Ship and was christened and launched on September 17, 2016 at Fincantieri, Marinette Marine in Marinette, Wisconsin. Today she is complete, and we are proud to serve the newest warship in the United States Navy. The ship's crew is honored to carry Wichita's proud name and the legacy left to us by 2 previous ships who bore the name as we defend the American way of life whenever and wherever we may be called. Our ceremony today is time-honored tradition, which began with the commissioning of our first ship, a captive British schooner, the Marietta, in 1775. Since then, thousands of ships have undergone the transformation from solid hulls to fully alive warships. Our commissioning crew, hereafter known as plank owners, are in formation among you and ready. In just a few moments, the Commander Naval Region Southeast Band and the Naval Station Norfolk Saluting Battery will render honors to Honorable Jerry Moran. Will the guests please rise and remain standing for the arrival of our official party? Honors, presentation of colors, our national anthem, and invocation. Ladies and gentlemen, our platform guests. On the stage, Seaman First Class and 40mm gunner, veteran Melvin, crew member of the former heavy cruiser USS Wichita, CA-45. Lieutenant, junior grade, Matthew Spurlock, Chaplain Corps, United States Navy. Captain Sean Johnston, United States Navy, Commander, Littoral Ship, Squadron 2. Captain Michael Taylor, United States Navy, Program Manager, Littoral Combat Ships. Captain Joseph Toop, United States Navy, Supervisor of Shipbuilding BAD. Mr. Brian Kennedy, Navy League of the United States, Mayport Council. Rear Admiral Jeffrey Penfield, United States Navy, retired, Chairman, USS Wichita Commissioning Committee. Ms. Jan Allman, President, Chief Executive Officer, and General Manager, Vicateri Marinette Marine. Mr. Palamo, Vice President, Lockheed Martin, Integrated Warfare Systems and Sensors. Admiral John Dangley, United States Navy, Program Executive Officer, Unmanned and Small Combatants. The Honorable Jeff Longwell, Mayor, City of Wichita, Kansas. Vice Admiral Dean Peters, United States Navy, Commander, Naval Air Systems Command. The Honorable James Gertz, Assistant Secretary of the Navy, Research, Development, and Acquisition. The Honorable Ron Estes, United States Representative, 4th District, State of Kansas. The Honorable John Rutherford, United States Representative, 4th District, State of Florida. The Honorable Jeff Collier, Governor, State of Kansas. Ladies and gentlemen, our ship sponsor, Ms. Kate Laird, escorted today by Master Chief William Meyer, United States Navy, Wichita's Command Master Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Jerry Moran, United States Senator, State of Kansas, escorted today by our commanding officer, Commander Nathan Rowan, United States Navy. Ladies and gentlemen, honors for the Honorable Jerry Moran. Platform, hand, salute. Platform, ready, 2. Advance the colors. Platform, hand, salute. Retire the colors. Platform, ready, 2. We'd like to thank the Littoral Combat Ship Squadron 2 Color Guard, Commander Naval Region Southeast Band, the Naval Station Norfolk Saluting Battery, and Patrol and Reconnaissance Wing 11 for their support today. Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain Spurlock will deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we come before you with hearts of thanksgiving for this day that you have made and for the opportunity to commission the USS Wichita. We thank thee, O Lord, for the individuals who have designed, labored, and contributed to build this magnificent ship. Our gratitude extends to the command, officers, and crew who have trained and sacrificed and will soon bring this ship to life. We ask that you would help us to be receptive for this special ceremony and for us to reflect on the heritage of the city of Wichita, a heritage that this ship now adopts, and the legacy of the vessels that once bared this name, from the cruiser that served the Second World War to the oiler that supported off the coast of Vietnam. May this ship before us today serve this nation with that same spirit. Heavenly Father, we are grateful for your presence and humbly request that you would bless this ceremony with your divine hand. Blessed be your glorious name forever, and let the whole earth be filled with your glory. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Spurlock. Will the guests please be seated? Ship's company, parade, rest. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable John Rutherford.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is truly my honor to be here this morning for the commissioning of LCS 13, the USS Wichita. I welcome you to Naval Station Mayport, and a special welcome to the USS Wichita sponsor, Ms. Kate Lair. Also, the governor of Kansas is with us this morning, Jeff Collier. The mayor of Wichita, Jeff Longwell. My congressional colleagues, Navy leadership, and all the distinguished guests in attendance, welcome again to the beautiful Naval Station Mayport as we gather to celebrate the third ship to be commissioned as the USS Wichita. Her presence adds to a long tradition of naval history here in Northeast Florida, dating back to 1942. After commissioning as a naval station in 1942, Mayport supported the Atlantic Fleet during World War II. 10 years later, in 1952, the first ship to be homeported here was an aircraft carrier, the USS Tarawa. It's pretty amazing to see how far Mayport has grown since those early days, 65 years ago. Now home to the Navy's 4th Fleet, Mayport is the 3rd largest naval surface fleet concentration in the United States. And the USS Wichita will certainly make an impressive addition. Since she is known as the, quote, keeper of the seas, and she has a storied history that you were provided earlier. I am so proud to be here for this commissioning and cannot wait to see what lies ahead for the 3rd installment of the Wichita as she goes forth from our shores once again carrying sailors into harm's way in defense of America. As a representative of Mayport in Congress and as a proud sponsor of the Navy, it is my honor to champion the LCS program. The USS Wichita is the 5th LCS to be homeported here, with, we hope, many more to follow. As the USS Wichita sets sail to protect our freedom, I pray that God watches over her and the many lives she carries on board, and give her fair winds and following seas.
Thank you, Representative Rutherford. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pa Lamo.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Let me be the first today to say what a great Navy day it is to be here in Mayport. Thank you for being here to celebrate the commissioning of LCS 13, the Wichita. It's a great privilege to be here today to represent the industry team that built this remarkable ship you see before us. Naval Station Mayport is an appropriate setting, rich in naval history. Today, LCS 13, Wichita, joins the squadron that includes Milwaukee, Detroit, Little Rock, and Sioux City. Special congratulations and thanks to Vice Admiral Dean Peters, the Honorable James Gertz, ship sponsor, Mrs. Kate Lehrer, the commissioning committee, the crew, and all the people who worked so tirelessly to bring this event to a success. For many years, visionary leaders in our government recognized that the security environment of the 21st century would require new approaches to meet our most demanding challenges. The global landscape is increasingly complex, with a resurgence in near-peer competition, requiring a lethal force and an unprecedented level of innovation, where flexibility, knowledge, speed, agility, and coordinated action are absolutely critical. This type of innovation lies at the heart of the littoral combat ship. We certainly would not be here today to celebrate this achievement were it not for the steadfast partnership our industry team has enjoyed with the United States Navy. A partnership that at every level has reinforced the qualities of teamwork we so very much respect and admire: honesty, integrity, trust, and performance. Today, LCS 13 enters the fleet. Her capabilities are designed to complete specific missions, including surface, mine countermeasures, and anti-submarine warfare. Sailors can rely on Wichita to be a home base as they launch humanitarian aid, special operations, and mine removal missions. The mission has deep meaning to the Lockheed Martin-led industry team. Lockheed Martin, Fincantieri Marinette Marine, Gibbs & Cox are inspired by sailors who voluntarily travel around the world to protect the security of our nation. And as innovative as this ship is, as dazzling as her technology may be, she is nothing without the skill and courage of the crew. Today, when her crew boards and brings her to life, the USS Wichita will become one of the fleet's most lethal and versatile warships. LCS will be what the sailors need when they need it. Commander Rowan, members of the crew, on behalf of the LCS industry team, it's an extraordinary honor to be in your presence today and play a role in supporting you in your critical missions. We wish you Godspeed, fair winds, and following seas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Lamar. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Jeff Longwell.
Well, good morning. I can't really convey enough what an honor it is for Wichita to be a part of this incredible opportunity. We stand ready, and I would like for my Wichita family to stand up with me today. So, Wichita. Thank you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, family and friends, thank you for the support for this special occasion. It's great to see so many in attendance today, each connected in some special way to this magnificent ship. I want to thank the political leadership here today representing the state of Kansas, the city of Wichita, and all of those on the commissioning committee who have made this day such a success. While I wish I could acknowledge everyone who has put their blood, sweat, and tears into bringing us here today, I will name just a few. First, Rear Admiral Jeffrey Penfield, who Kansas is proud to call a native son and who led the commissioning committee in Wichita. And Ward Cook, who has deep ties to our community and worked so hard on the commissioning of the USS Wichita and so many other ships. Thank you both and the rest of the committee for your tireless labor. I also want to thank three individuals who have shown immense support for Wichita, for those whom serve our country and the armed forces. I'm proud to call these three men our friends, Senator Jerry Moran, Representative Ron Estes, and Governor Jeff Collier. Thank you very much. I would also like to recognize Kate and Jim Lair. Jim is also a Wichita native who we are so thankful to have as part of our family, and thank you for all that you've done for our ship. Kansas may be a landlocked state, but since 1937, when the construction of the first USS Wichita began, the seas have been in our hearts. With each reincarnation, we enforce our bond to the Navy and to the individuals who serve to protect our freedom every day. To the crew of the USS Wichita, the center of our crest depicts the Wichita flag. The Zia sun dots its center and pays homage to our city's Native American heritage. It is happiness. It is surrounded by a hogan, the symbol for home. You may never have seen Wichita or maybe even been in Kansas before, but we are your home, and we will always welcome you with open arms. You are anchored to us and us to you. Like its namesake city, the Wichita perhaps not as big as other ships. However, it's faster, smarter, and well-equipped. Wichita is known for its enterprising spirit, one of hard work and determination. My wish is that the USS Wichita carries that same spirit with it. The city of Wichita conquered the skies as the air capital of the world, and now the USS Wichita will go forth to conquer the seas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Longwell. Ladies and gentlemen, Vice Admiral Dean Peters.
Good morning, everyone. It's truly an honor to be here and participate in this ceremony. On behalf of the Chief of Naval Operations, I want to congratulate the pre-commissioning unit on getting to this important milestone. On a personal note, as a helicopter pilot, having spent many nights aboard small surface combatants, hundreds of landings on small ships, I only regret that I will not be able to relive some of those days aboard this fine ship, gracefully cutting through the waters, projecting power, projecting diplomacy, sailed by, fought by this fine group of sailors, and many more in the future, some yet to be born. So may God bless this crew, bless the ship, and the United States Navy. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Admiral Peters. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Ron Estes.
Good morning. You know, it's an honor to join the United States Navy and my colleagues in Congress from not just Kansas but also Florida to celebrate the Navy's newest littoral combat class ship as she begins her service to our country, the USS Wichita. Our community has been a strong supporter of the military for decades, from the men and women stationed at McConnell to the rich heritage of two former Navy ships named after the largest city in Kansas. As a third commissioned USS Wichita in the U.S. Navy history, this ship will carry our proud legacy representing our city and our state around the globe. I've known about the USS Wichita the entire time that I've been in Congress, as members of the Navy and of our community have been briefing me on the status as we've gone through this process. I've been looking forward to this day, and I'm so proud to see years of work become reality today. The seal of the ship pays homage to Wichita by including elements of the city's flag. It also includes wheat, representing a major agriculture for our area. It includes a bone skull and feathers that honor the Native American heritage. And the motto, Keeper of the Seas, which is recognizable by all Wichitans as a nod to our Keeper of the Plains statue. Beyond the visual representation of our city's history on the ship's seal, I'd like to think of the USS Wichita will also honor our community's character and values of hard work, humility, love of country, and determination. And while our city may be hundreds of miles from the nearest ocean, our citizens will be forever linked to this great Navy ship, and from there to the world. In addition to being represented in big letters on the stern and on the ship's seal, I'm proud that Wichita will also be represented on board by several Wichita area natives, including Chief Petty Officer Isaac Davis, an operations specialist, and Chief Petty Officer Brian Tanner, an information systems technician. I'm thankful to Chief Petty Officers Davis and Tanner, as well as the entire crew of the USS Wichita for their service to our country. I was honored to meet some of the crew last year in Wichita and know that these brave men and women will make our community and our country proud through their service. I'm also thankful for the efforts of so many people from our community who've been supporting the work of the USS Wichita Commissioning Committee. This day would not have happened without the efforts and work of so many in the United States Navy. So on behalf of the entire 4th District of Kansas, I congratulate the crew of the USS Wichita on this commissioning and wish the Keeper of the Seas fair winds and following seas. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Estes. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Jeff Collier.
Mr. Secretary, Admiral, Skipper, sailors and families of these distinguished sailors, and our special guests. It is a distinct honor to be Governor of Kansas and to be with you here for the commissioning of the USS Wichita. Like previous ships of the line that have borne the name USS Wichita, you reflect the value of courage, determination, and resolve. Kansas is the true heart of America and has produced more than 250,000 sailors. Today, I wish to present to the skipper the Kansas flag, which flew over the state capitol yesterday. We are all connected in ways that we may not recognize. Like most Kansans, the USS Wichita understands that strength and humility in our connectedness as Americans. Humble Kansans and great warships like the USS Wichita often keep their amazing stories quiet, but they matter when we need it most. Sailors, you are an heir to that distinction. The USS Wichita was a cruiser that was important to the invasions of Palau and Okinawa. Another Kansas governor, Harry Woodring, was Roosevelt's Secretary of War at the commissioning of the USS Wichita in the 1930s. Pardon me. Later, a skinny 19-year-old Kansas Navy corpsman was on a beach in the Palau Islands 75 years ago. The USS Wichita and several ships of the line bombarded Peleliu for a week. No tree or building was left standing, and then the invasion came. Waves of American Marines and sailors stormed the beaches. 18,000 of them died in the sand on a tiny island barely 1 by 6 miles. Every Navy corpsman in those first 3 waves, every Navy corpsman save 2 died on the beach in the sand. That skinny Kansas Navy corpsman prayed for help from above. And the USS Wichita was there with its 9 8-inch guns. Each gun could fire a 335-pound shell every 15 seconds. That Navy corpsman needed help from above, and the USS Wichita and her guns were there raining down every 15 seconds. It was one of the bloodiest battles of the Pacific there and in Okinawa. History will never record precisely what happened, but somehow that skinny Kansas Navy corpsman, aged 19, survived with a little help from above. And later, that skinny Kansas Navy corpsman, James Daniel Collier, my father, came home to Kansas with help from above, from the USS Wichita. The USS Wichita will serve not only as a living tribute to remind us of our legacy, but it is a symbol of inspiration and strength. It is a symbol of freedom for all of us. President Eisenhower, another great Kansan, once said, "History does not long entrust the care of freedom to the weak or the timid." And today, our nation now entrusts the care of freedom to these soldiers who will serve on this mighty ship. It will now be your responsibility to secure freedom for our future generations. And for that, we say thank you. I want to thank these soldiers, and I want to welcome you and your families to our Kansas family. I'd like to ask all of your family members, all the family members of these sailors of the USS Wichita, could you please stand so that we may honor you? Sailors, know that we are with your families. We love them. When you are at sea, they are part of a Kansas family. So forged by the sea, your metal will never corrode, lest we forget the true meaning of your legacy. The legacy of the USS Wichita lies not in its battle stars earned, but rather in the freedom it protects. Thank you, sailors. God bless you, and God bless the great United States of America.
Thank you, Governor Collier. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable James Gertz.
Good morning. Well, it's been an amazing day so far. It's great to be here. The good news is you're in the 7th inning stretch now. We're almost there. Pretty soon you're going to see this wonderful warship behind us come to life. You're going to see these sailors man that ship, and we're going to add another great warship to the line, defending our freedom. Distinguished platform guest, our wonderful ship sponsor, Kate. The crew and family of the USS Wichita, fellow veterans, fellow Americans, shipbuilders, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us here for this wonderful ceremony. It's great to be back in Florida. It's not D.C., and it's also a place where we have got some of the strongest support to our military anywhere in the country. The community here does an amazing job taking care of our sailors, our Marines, and their families, and we really appreciate that. Participating in the commissioning ceremonies is one of the best parts of my job because it puts on display two traits that are really special and part of our nation: teamwork and commitment. The teamwork and commitment of all of our shipbuilders and thousands of suppliers across the country. The teamwork and commitment of this crew who's been working so hard to get ready for this event. The teamwork and commitment by their families who provide the foundations so that they can do the important job the nation's asked them to do. And the teamwork and commitment from our Congress and American people who, without their support, we could not put amazing warships like this on the line. It's an exciting time for your Navy, our Navy. Last year we commissioned 8 warships. This year we're commissioning 13. Last year we commissioned 3 of these ships all year. This year we're going to commission 3 of them in the next 3 months. Your Navy is working hard across the board to build the Navy the nation needs, to ensure we are ready anytime, any place to answer the call for freedom. While we give all our warships the best capabilities and cutting-edge technologies, we've given this ship a secret weapon no other ship in the Navy has, a capability nowhere else found on the world. That's our ship sponsor, Kate. She's our secret weapon. She's the one that's going to keep this ship close to her heart, looking over the crew, looking over the ship, and it'll be that special ingredient we all look for to have special capabilities all around the world. With this well-trained crew, the support of Jacksonville, the support of Wichita, the support of the American people, I'm confident the USS Wichita is ready to join the line and defend our great nation. God bless this ship, her crew and their families, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you. Now for the closer. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct pleasure to introduce today's keynote speaker, Senator Jerry Moran from Kansas. Senator Moran's work on behalf of our military families, and our veterans has been both remarkable and unwavering. I can think of no one more appropriate to serve as our keynote speaker on this great day for our Navy and our nation. As a key member of the Senate Defense Appropriations Committee, he's a proven track record of fighting to ensure we have the military that is resilient, well-supported, and there when the nation needs it. We would not be able to build the Navy the nation needs without his steadfast support. Thank you, sir. Please join me in welcoming Senator Moran as our principal speaker for today.
It's an honor to be with you. Mr. Secretary, thank you for the introduction. I can't ever remember being introduced as what follows the 7th inning stretch, and your use of the word closer suggests to me that my remarks should be brief. Apparently, I am the only thing standing between what all have gathered here to do today, the excitement of the morning, in the actual excitement of the ship being christened, is now some senator from Kansas delaying that moment of this morning's festivities. But I am honored on behalf of my colleagues in the United States Senate, and particularly my Kansas congressional delegation and the citizens of our state, to be here today and to join people from across the country here in Jacksonville to celebrate our United States Navy and the USS Wichita's call to service. I'm honored to represent the city of Wichita as a United States Senator. I'm proud to take part in this historic occasion to mark the USS Wichita's call to service for the 3rd time in defense of our freedoms. Wichita, as you've heard, represents people of strength and patriotism, love of country, people who persevere, who demonstrate every day hard work. And I'm confident that the crew of the USS Wichita will demonstrate those traits regardless of the challenges that lie ahead. Many, many Kansans at home in Wichita at Century 2 are watching this on a big screen. The Navy is using the technology of today to allow every American to see what's taking place here today. And I welcome those folks to this audience. And I also welcome the many Kansans who've come from our state to be here at this ceremony and to enjoy what folks in Jacksonville and Florida say is a very cold day. I'd like to thank Kate Lehrer and Jim Lehrer, the native of Wichita, and the entire Lehrer family for their sponsorship of the USS Wichita. I'd like to thank our Navy leaders, including Secretary Spencer and Admiral Richardson, as well as those who served on the USS Wichita Commissioning Committee, for your diligence and thoughtful preparation to bring today's ship to service. I too would thank Admiral Jeffrey Penfield and Ward Cook in particular, but the entire commission as we gather here and benefit from the fruits of their efforts. Today's commissioning is very much about the future of the Navy, but we should at this time also pay tribute to those who have sacrificed in the past and who served on the USS Wichita during some of our nation's most difficult and challenging times. We all know this is the third Navy vessel that bears the Wichita namesake, and fortunately several of those USS Wichita alumni are with us today. I know that the crew will follow the legacy of those individuals who served on the past USS Wichita and demonstrate that that legacy continues today and into the future. As I thought about what we might try to accomplish today, in addition to recognizing this new ship and the benefits it brings our nation, is I think our job today is also to thank those who have served us in the past, our veterans and our military retirees, and to express our gratitude for those who serve us today. Washington, D.C., I try never to complain about a job I ask Kansans to give me, but Washington, D.C. and the nation's capital can be a very frustrating place. One of the opportunities I take to relieve that frustration is to walk the memorials on the National Mall. So I'll put on my running shoes and I'll walk up to the Lincoln Memorial. On my way to that memorial, I'll see now the World War II Memorial. I'll then pass the Vietnam Wall, and on my way back, I'll come to the Korean War Memorial. Well, shortly before the World War II Memorial was dedicated, I made that trek. And I walked up to the World War II Memorial, and it was soon to be dedicated, consecrated just a few days later. But I came to the Kansas Pillar, and I thought about my dad back home in Plainville, Kansas. My dad is a World War II veteran. And so I stepped away from that memorial. It took a long time to get our World War II memorial, our World War II veterans, the memorial that they deserved on the National Mall. And I called my dad back home in Plainville. And fortunately for me, I got his answering machine. Because it's not easy for us, sons and daughters of those who serve our nation, to express the gratitude and appreciation that we should do on an ongoing basis. So I speak to my dad's voicemail and I say, Dad, I'm at the World War II Memorial. It was built in your honor. And Dad, I want you to know that I respect you, that I thank you for your service, and I love you. I complete my trek and I'm walking back to my office on the National Mall and my cell phone rings. That World War II veteran got the last word because his call to me was, Gerald, I got a message from you, but I couldn't understand it. Could you repeat it? So, to those who have served, who are present with us today, to you and your families, to those who serve us today, the sailors on the USS Wichita, and all others in the Navy who join us this afternoon. We say by our presence here, we respect you. We thank you for your service, and we love you. As we look at those who serve us today, they are so important. The future of our nation every day is at risk. The strategic environment that our Navy faces today continues to be more and more dynamic, ever-changing, and the commissioning of the USS Wichita demonstrates our nation's dedication to build capability within the Navy so that it can remain competitive around the globe and in every sea. This strategic asset puts more naval power forward to fulfill a steady state and war-fighting requirements. This commissioning is a momentous occasion and a success story for the Navy. The commissioning of the USS Wichita is symbolic. It's symbolic of strength and continued growth of the Navy. To the crew of the USS Wichita, I was pleased to learn that you visited on numerous occasions the air capital of the world, Wichita, Kansas, and you got to know the people of Wichita, Sedgwick County, and our state. I feel comforted that you've spent time in Wichita and that you have a feel for who we are and our way of life. And I trust that you recognize that we share similar values. We are your allies, your friends. We are those who cheer you on. We are those who care for your families. We want to be your partners as you defend us around the globe. It was an honor to visit with the two members of the crew who are from Wichita and Derby. You have a hometown and a home state that is proud, so very proud of both of you. I know it's surprising. We've talked about this, Kansas and a Navy. I'm always surprised when I meet Navy men and women from our state, and we think of us as a landlocked place. The governor said we used to be an ocean several 100 million years ago. We have a connection to the sea. But we've been a place that has supported the Navy throughout history. At the height of World War II, the Darby steel production of Kansas churned out ships daily that were sent down the Kaw River to New Orleans for deployment. And in Leavenworth, Kansas, the Missouri Valley Bridge and Iron Company built naval vessels at a shipyard along the Missouri River. The Navy continues to have a home in Wichita, Kansas. In Wichita in particular, our research and testing support for the Navy at Wichita State is a significant component of making this Navy more effective and more durable. And Spirit Aerosystems, one of our major state's employer, is constructing the Navy's P-8 Poseidon that we see here today. Though multiple cities in Kansas support our U.S. Navy, the city of Wichita for generations has served the Navy well, not only at sea, but in the air. The USS Wichita is a tangible representation of a commitment by the Navy to its future, by the sailors to our country, and to the people of the state of Kansas, it's a commitment in reverse to our sailors and to the Navy. The Navy is our consistent, forward, ever-present presence around the world to deter our adversaries, both in wartime and in peace. Each new vessel takes to the sea allows our sailors to carry out that mission. And I appreciate the efforts of our taxpayers of this country to put modernizing and expanding our fleet at the forefront of our priorities in the nation's capital. I enjoyed my opportunity to get acquainted with Captain Nathan Rowan. And it's a great opportunity to be with him and to meet his family and to meet the folks from his hometown, at least his hometown church. Commander Rowan, our prayers, as the chaplain said, are with you. They are with your command. You begin an exciting and important chapter in your career, charting the future of this incredible ship. I trust that you will steadfastly command the USS Wichita. I'm confident in the crew of the USS Wichita. They will serve as they do with distinction, inheriting valor and courage from those who served before them. So, we appreciate each of you answering the call to serve our great nation, and we pray that the USS Wichita serves you well in return. Once again, thank you to all who made this special day a reality. You know, I leave here and return to our nation's capital. The sailors and their families that I've met, the veterans of the Navy that I've talked to over the last 2 days, remind me something. So while it's an honor for me to be here, I want you to know that I take a message back to our nation's capital. Just as when I see those memorials on the nation's mall, when I meet you, when I hear your stories, when I see your dedication, I'm reminded, not one of you. No one joined the Navy. No one boarding this ship is boarding because they are a Republican or because they are a Democrat. My point is, my colleagues and I in Washington, D.C., the President in the White House, we have a lot to learn from the people who serve our nation in our military. Could we be called to public service? Those of you who made this decision did so because you thought you could make life safer, better for your family at home. You thought the country could be more secure, and maybe we could promote freedom and liberty around the globe. Nothing about that is partisan politics. So I appreciate what I learned from being with you yesterday and today. My colleagues and I have our work cut out for us. And you, our sailors of the Navy, should be our role models. Kansas shares with the Navy our state motto, "To the stars through difficulties." The Navy motto, "From the depths of the stars, you are forged by the sea." So from Wichita, Kansas, the keeper of the plains, to the Navy, the keeper of the stars, we are grateful. We are grateful for your service, for your love of country, for your commitment to others. I can't tell my dad what I told him on the voicemail. My dad made it to age 98, but in his absence, I will tell you what I said on voicemail. We respect you. We thank you for your service, and we love you. God bless our sailors, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Senator Moran. Secretary Gertz, I would be honored if you would place Wichita in commission.
On behalf of the Secretary of the Navy and for the President of the United States, I hereby place the United States ship Wichita in commission. May God bless and guide this warship and all who sail in her. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Executive Officer, hoist the colors and the commissioning pennant.
Aye, sir. Wichita, attention. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. I direct your attention to the ship's mast as we hoist the colors and commission pennant. Quartermaster, hoist the colors and commission pennant.
Aye, aye, sir.
Captain, the colors and commission pennant are flying over USS Wichita.
Very well.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
I will now read my orders. From Chief of Naval Personnel to Commander Nathan Rowan, United States Navy. Subject, Pupils Orders number 0688. When directed by Reporting Senior, assume duties as Commanding Officer, Pre-Commission Unit, Wichita, for duties in conjunction with fitting out upon commissioning of USS Wichita. Report for duty as Commanding Officer. Vice Admiral Peters, Wichita is in commission. I am in command. Executive Officer, set the watch.
Aye, sir. Officer of the deck, set the first watch.
Aye, aye, sir.
The officer of deck is the commanding officer's direct representative, and while on watch is responsible for the safety and smooth operation of the ship and her crew. The long glass is the traditional symbol of an officer of the deck's authority in the ship of the line. We are honored to have Seaman First Class Patrick Melvin here today to assist in setting our first watch. Mr. Melvin is one of the last surviving crew members of the heavy cruiser Wichita. He will pass our ship's long glass to our first officer of the deck, Lieutenant Junior Grade John Fry, from Jackson, Mississippi. The petty officer of the watch is Operations Specialist, First Class Francisco Morgan, from Miami, Florida. The messenger of the watch is Seaman Luke Wellington from Buffalo, New York. And the boatswain mate of the watch is boatswain mate Second Class Brandon Wildman from Tampa, Florida.
Set the watch. On deck, watch section 1. Sir, the watch is set.
Very well. Captain, the watch is set.
Very well. We are delighted to have our sponsor, Kay Leary, here with us today. Mrs. Leary christened the ship in Marinette, Wisconsin on September 17th, 2016. Kate, I would be honored if you would join me and give the order to man our ship and bring her to life.
Officers and crew of the USS Wichita, man our ship and bring her to life.
Ladies and gentlemen, the crew of USS Wichita salutes you. We are proud to serve in your great Navy. Ready, two. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Captain, USS Wichita is manned and ready.
Very well. Commodore Johnston, USS Wichita is manned and ready. I report for duty. Secretary Gertz, request permission to break your flag. Executive Officer, break the flag of the Assistant Secretary of the Navy.
Aye, sir. Quartermaster, break the flag of the Assistant Secretary of the Navy.
Aye, aye, sir.
Captain, the flag of the Assistant Secretary of the Navy is flying over USS Wichita.
Very well.
Ladies and gentlemen, Commander Nathan Rowan, Commanding Officer, United States Ship Wichita.
Wichita, parade, rest. Good morning, everyone. For those of you who know me personally, you know how much I value family, so I would like to take this time to start off by wishing my older brother a happy birthday. Happy birthday. I would like to welcome all of our distinguished guests, family, friends, and veterans. Today is the ceremonial beginning of USS Wichita, but I'm here as a witness that it is also the culmination of a tremendous amount of preparation. Like a proud parent, I am so excited to share with you how awesome this ship really is and the remarkable things the crew has done to bring the warship to life. I'm truly blessed to have had the opportunity to be part of such an amazing process. So disclaimer up front, if I get emotional, there can be no judgment. If you had an opportunity to be in my shoes and serve aboard the ship with this crew, you would understand where I'm coming from. Since the crowd is mostly civilian, let me begin with the most common question. People ask me about littoral combat ship. Is it a new cruiser or destroyer? Actually, it's neither. It's an entirely new category of warship. I want to try to explain the capabilities of this ship and why the addition of this class is so critical to the Navy's evolution towards the future of our national defense. If you were to Google information about the ship, which I'm sure some of you did, you would read that this ship is agile, fast, and designed to defeat global challenges in the littoral environment. I know most of us don't use the word littoral in our daily vocabulary, but it basically means close to shore. I came up with a couple of analogies to make this concept more tangible. As you look out on the waterfront today, you can see different types of ships. Obviously, each of these ships is better suited to different types of missions. The carriers, cruisers, and destroyers are more like desktop computers, whereas an LCS is more like a smartphone. No matter how far technology has come, there are still some tasks that really do require a desktop as a platform. A desktop has exponentially more storage capacity than a smartphone, much like a carrier can transport far more equipment, personnel, and weapons than an LCS could. Similarly, an LCS will never have that in-your-face presence that a carrier does, but sometimes you may want to get right up close to an adversary before they notice you. The LCS, like your favorite mobile device, offers more portability and maneuverability while being much less conspicuous. And like a smartphone, the LCS packs quite a hefty punch for such a small package. Another analogy might be United States Postal Service versus Amazon Prime. At first glance, you might think these organizations provide the same service, delivering packages. On closer inspection, though, the differences become apparent. USPS is equivalent to our cruisers and destroyers. They are very reliable. Rain, sleet, or snow, you will get your package in 7 to 10 days. It will be in the correct mailbox or at the post office to be retrieved the next day between 9 and 5 if it requires. For one thing, those mail trucks are not designed to be pulling into driveways and backing out again to get the mail directly to your porch. Just like a larger warship has a deeper draft and cannot get in close to shore. I know my fellow commanding officers on the waterfront are going to give me a hard time after this speech, but this is done in the spirit of friendly competition. Now, the LCS, like Amazon Prime, is here to change the package delivery game. Just like the Amazon guy comes speeding up your driveway in a Prius, our shallow draft allows us to come right up to close to shore without broadcasting our presence. Amazon is so high tech that if you aren't home to sign, that guy pulls out his smartphone, snaps a picture of the package on your porch, and uploads it to your account so you know that they did their job. Well, I don't want to give all of our military secrets away, but trust me, we can leave a calling card to let people know we have been there if we need to. Whether our mission is to provide help to our allies or intervene against an adversary, you can see how there are some times that our approach will provide some significant advantages, particularly because in our military, our packages usually involve weapons and people. See, much cooler explanation than what you Google on the internet. You are welcome. Now that you know what an LCS ship does, I have to spend a minute telling you about how fantastic the crew of the USS Wichita is. When the Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral John Richardson, took the helm, he discussed 4 core attributes. He wanted our servicemen and women to exemplify those attributes, which were integrity, accountability, initiative, and toughness. We're striving to achieve all of these here on USS Wichita, but 2 in particular I think the crew has exhibited daily at exemplary levels. The other 2 I try to integrate into my own leadership style. I want to start with toughness first, because this crew understands this better than most. So over the last 8 months or so, the Navy has asked a lot of these men and women. This crew was originally stationed in San Diego, not a bad home port. It never rains in Southern California. But as Mayport gained more LCS ships, it became critical to have adequate staffing to ensure timely and safe delivery of the ships from Marinette, Wisconsin, where they are built, to their final home port here in Mayport. The Wichita crew, formerly known as Crew 101, was tasked to ship home ports from San Diego to Mayport. Quite a few of these sailors have families still in San Diego. Weeks after the move from San Diego, we were redirected to report to Marinette, where we completed mandatory hands-on training on board the ship in preparation for our journey home. This was a second cross-country move for the whole crew within 2 months. These sailors never complained and stayed focused the entire time. Despite being deployed and separated from their families anywhere from 6 to 8 months, they certified each event ahead of schedule. They were great ambassadors of the Navy while on liberty with 0 incidents, and no one quit. You hear that, Master Chief Brown? No one quit. I left with 73 and returned with 72. I had one sailor who had mandatory neurosurgery on his back, and I ordered him to remain in Mayport. Even he wanted to fight through the pain and stay with the ship. We knew it would be costly to his health in the long run and his career in short, so we made the decision for him. Through all the moves, separation from family, and for months in treacherous weather on our journey home, they remained steadfast and determined. Now, if that isn't a great example of toughness, I don't know what is. The next attribute this crew routinely exhibits is initiative. One of the things I enjoy most in this particular job on board the ship is that I have a group of sailors that always look ahead on their own and try to anticipate the requirements of upcoming events. They love to meet expectations, and they strive to exceed them ahead of deadlines if they can. See, they understand if they're meeting or exceeding your boss's expectation, it leads to more independence and frequently more opportunities for personal time. The one thing I can never reward these sailors enough of is time. It is their most precious and treasured commodity. They quickly embark this ship and immerse themselves completely into what it took to bring this ship to life. We have had a few bumps in the road, but this crew deserves credit for being resourceful, tenacious, and flexible in coming up with viable solutions to unexpected problems. They take pride in being the best on the waterfront. They each understand the equipment they are in charge of and how to maximize their individual performance as it contributes to the larger mission at hand. Make no mistake, I have a competitive group of sailors who strive not just to be the best they can be, but to be the best. The two remaining attributes, integrity and accountability, are core values I try to exude both as a commanding officer and in life. Integrity. When I make a decision for the ship or for individual sailors, I try to do the right thing and not what might be easiest for me at the time. I try to remember in my daily demeanor that what we do is bigger than ourselves and that it takes all 72 of us to make this ship operate the way it's designed. I try to role model for the crew the fortitude to do what's right when no one is looking on and off the ship, to encourage them to speak up when they see something that is not right. I want to be the example that I expect my junior sailors to emulate. I'm obviously still a work in progress, but I am trying. Lastly, accountability. This one is simple. What consequences will follow if we break the rules or don't honor the Navy core values of honor, courage, and commitment? The answer I've learned as a young child from my mom: don't break the rules. You never have to find out what the consequences are. Thanks, Mom. You've never served but have had all the answers to create good order and discipline. Seriously, accountability is easy here because you quickly see the direct impacts of procrastination or shortcuts and how errors can cause major problems and limit the amount of time this ship and crew operates, and USS Wichita was built to operate. I promise I'm almost done. But if I can leave without bragging a little bit about the future of USS Wichita, we have been designated as primarily a mine countermeasure platform and will function as the training crew to teach other crews that have been billeted to hulls with that mission set. This is the first crew that has had the opportunity to be involved with development of the mission package, which was used to detect and neutralize mines. Over the course of the next few years, this crew will help to fine-tune the training regimens for crews tasked with the employment of aviation assets and unmanned surface and submersible vehicles in support of fleet operations. Here is my hope for the ship and crew. As our adversaries continue to technologically advance their attempts to harm our assets and allies, the Navy will call upon the USS Wichita, soon to be subject matter experts, to take care of the nation's business. This ship and crew will quickly become one of the mission's most valuable assets and will always be on standby to answer the call should there be one. I am proud of the progress that the program has made in delivering this great ship, and even more proud of the crew that runs it. As you interact with the crew today and tour our wonderful ship, I am sure that you will also be impressed even if you fell asleep during my speech. Again, a special thanks for the support from our distinguished guests, family, friends, and veterans, and to all for coming today and celebrating such a major milestone for this ship. Thank you.
Ship's company, attention. Will the guests please rise? Chaplain Spurlock will now lead us in the benediction.
Let us pray. Eternal Father and Creator God, we look to you as we send forth the command, officers, and crew of the USS Wichita. Bless them with your care as they bring this vessel to life with their presence, as they continue to unify together with respect, honor, and integrity. Guide them with your wisdom, O Lord, as they embark through the narrow littorals and as they sail through the vast open seas, and keep them with your divine providence as they trust in your almighty power. Bless the families and loved ones of these sailors as they support those abroad and ashore, serving this great vessel. From the keeper of the plain to the keeper of the seas, may all those who serve this ship uphold the namesake of the city of Wichita, the state of Kansas, and the United States Navy. May all those present here today look to you for the light that you bring and the love you bestow. I pray all these things in the name that is above every name,